Every morning, the 7:15 Express thundered through Platform 3 at Grand Central Terminal in New York, carrying thousands of passengers to their destinations. And every morning, in the shadow of that platform's pillar, sat a man the world had forgotten. His name was Daniel, but nobody called him that anymore. To the rushing commuters, he was invisible, just another outstretched hand, another mumbled plea lost in the chaos of departure announcements and screeching brakes. For 11 years, Daniel had occupied that same spot. 11 years of watching polished shoes walk past. 11 years of collecting loose change that fell like crumbs of pity. 11 years of believing that this was his destiny, that some people were simply born to beg and others were born to give. He had stopped dreaming long ago. One humid August morning, a man in a crisp white shirt missed his train. He stood on the platform, checking his watch, frustration etched across his face. Then his eyes landed on Daniel. Instead of walking past, he walked toward him. "What do you do?" the businessman asked, crouching down to meet Daniel's eyes. Daniel blinked. In 11 years, no one had ever asked him that question. People asked for nothing. They gave or they ignored. That was the transaction. I beg, sir," Daniel replied, his voice barely above a whisper. The businessman shook his head slowly. "No, I asked what you do. Begging isn't doing anything, it's just waiting. Waiting for someone else to decide your worth." Daniel felt something stir in his chest, something uncomfortable, like a muscle that hadn't been used in years. "Sir, I have nothing to offer," he said, the words he had repeated to himself 1,000 times. "I am poor. I have no education, no skills, nothing." The businessman sat down right there on the dusty platform floor, his expensive trousers pressing against the grime. The commuters stared. He didn't care. "Let me tell you something," he said. "The universe operates on one simple principle: exchange. Energy flows where energy goes. You cannot receive if you do not give. Even the sun gives light before the earth gives back its warmth." He reached into his bag and pulled out a small bundle wrapped in newspaper. Inside were fresh flowers, bright orange and yellow, meant for a church visit he would now miss. "Take these," he said, pressing them into Daniel's hands. "Tomorrow, don't beg. Offer. Offer these flowers to the people who walk by. Let them choose to give you something in return. But give first. Always give first." Before Daniel could respond, the businessman stood, brushed off his trousers, and disappeared into the crowd to catch the next train. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He turned the wilted flowers over in his hands, the businessman's words echoing in his mind. "You cannot receive if you do not give." What did he have to give? He had nothing. He was nothing. But then another thought crept in, a dangerous, unfamiliar thought. What if I'm wrong? The next morning, Daniel did something he hadn't done in 11 years. He stood up. When the first commuter rushed past, Daniel didn't extend his palm. Instead, he extended a flower. "For you, ma'am," he said, his voice. "For good luck on your journey." The woman stopped. She looked at the flower, then at Daniel. Really looked at him. Perhaps for the first time seeing a person instead of a problem. She smiled, took the flower, and slipped a $5 bill into his hand. It wasn't charity. It was exchange. By noon, every flower was gone, and Daniel had earned more than he usually collected in 3 days. But the money wasn't what changed him. It was the way people looked at him now, not with pity, with respect. He was no longer a beggar. He was a man offering something of value. 3 years later, a man in a crisp white shirt stood at the entrance of Daniel's Flowers, a small but thriving shop just outside Grand Central Terminal. The flower garlands hanging in the window caught the morning light like captured sunshine. The businessman smiled as Daniel emerged from behind the counter, recognition flooding his face. "You gave me flowers once," Daniel said, his eyes glistening. "You gave me something far more valuable than that. You gave me a new mind." The businessman shook his head. "I gave you nothing you didn't already have. I just helped you see it." Daniel's circumstances didn't change first. His platform was the same. His poverty was the same. The indifferent crowd was the same. What changed was the story he told himself. He stopped saying, "I have nothing," and started asking, "What can I give?" That single question rebuilt his entire life. Your circumstances are not your cage. Your mindset is. And the key? It's already in your hands.